The truth about politics, poverty, and disease. Politics would not exist if the population was truly free. What do I mean by free? I mean die before you die. Give it all up. Have no attachments. Give up thinking. Give up control. Give up thinking we know. See, politics exists to suppress and control the people through the sea of stimulation, aggravation, information, through chaos and fear. They need us trapped in the cycles of thought caused by the sea of stimulation, aggravation, information, because they need us thinking we're somebody doing something. They need us caught in the egoic states. They need us identifying with the doer, the actor. They need us thinking we're in control, thus keeping us in the cycles of suffering and keeping us suppressed. They need us thinking we know. This is their main controlling factor, because when we think we know, then we are trapped in lower limiting perspectives and we can never see the truth. Because if we think we know, what if we've been told a lie? But we think we know. So they're suppressing us with this. This is how they control us. Because knowing you don't know is the middle of the circle. When we think we know, that's how they suppress us with politics. We have lost our true common sense. True common sense also exists in the center of the circle, with not knowing you don't know, with presence and purification. That's the center of the circle. Detached, thoughtless, right? When we think we know, which they propagate through the sea of stimulation, aggravation, information, fear, and chaos. Get us constantly thinking. We think we know. We're trapped in lower limiting perspectives. This is how they control us. And we've lost true common sense. To have true common sense, we have to completely detach from our biases and attachments, which is part of our ego, our somebodyness, caused by the thinking mind. So true common sense is in the center of the circle. It's very hard, but we need to achieve this, because without this, they can control us by keeping us caught in the thinking states. Remember, true common sense is thoughtless. Thinking states, we think we know. This is how they suppress and control humanity, to feed all of us energetically and use us as a type of slave. We also have poverty and disease. These are used. These are not a byproduct. They are created and allowed. What is disease? Well, you need to create a suppressed, physically, self-limiting, because it's also consciously, population in order to control them. That's what disease is. There is no such thing as disease. It is merely a set of symptoms that they've given name to. As the disease, or symptoms, is the byproduct of an imbalance in our chemistry. And this is signals that our body is trying to tell us. If you got pain or something crazy going on anywhere in your body, that is a symptom, right? Your body's trying to tell you your chemistry is incorrect, and we have to change the chemistry we're putting in our body. However, the system we're in, the toxic food program and the prison society, they specifically program us to eat foods that destroy us, right? A self-limiting population. This goes with poverty too. We are pretty aware at this point that enough resources exist to easily turn this world into a utopia of free and loving people. No chaos, no wars, no fear, no disease, easily. But because they have suppressed us and stimulated us and keep us thinking we're somebody doing something and thinking we know, caught us in lower limiting perspectives, taking away our true common sense, they are now able to control us. So if we are to truly get free, thus uncontrollable, we would not allow politics. If we were truly free, we would not allow the imbalance in the world, because the world, as above, so below, the world reflects us. So if we were truly free, the world would be truly free. If enough of us were truly free, that is why we are here now together with this video, because we are joining hand in hand to get free from the illusion. Thank you for being on this journey with me, my friend, freeing ourselves from the illusion and helping others get free from the illusion. What are two of the greatest devotions to God, which is what we do to get free? Presence and purification. These are how we break free from these political poverty disease systems. Presence and purification corrects all imbalances, as above, so below. So enough of us, outside of us, right? Everywhere. Presence and purification. Presence is pure surrender, is saying, I give it all up, including thinking I'm somebody doing something, thinking I'm in control. Surrender is giving up the illusion of control. There is no control. Control only exists in the thinking mind. I repeat this ad nauseum because it is so important. Once we gain the higher perspective of realizing there is no control and that we are the observer, that we're not the decision maker, we are merely observing. There is no control. We are nature running off, chemistry and conditioning. Once we can observe our nature running off by stop thinking long enough, right? Have you ever, this is going to be another video, have you ever stopped thinking long enough to observe your nature running off and realize that you and everybody else and everything else is merely nature running off and that nobody is in control? So the next time you want to say, why is this person doing this or saying this? We don't have to. We can observe nature running off. And our nature will run off accordingly and interact with their nature running off. That's all that's happening. And when we stop thinking long enough, we can observe this. This is how we get free. Because every second we are present in the center of the circle, the observer, the thoughtless, detached, knowing we do not know, true common sense, we are dissolving the identification and attachment with our ego, somebody's self, and we are going back to the center of the circle. Presence and purification. That's why His presence is the number one devotion to God, because it's surrendering, it's giving it all up and allowing our cosmic beloved to flow through us and work through us. That is giving it all up. You become a true vessel for God, a conscious vessel for God, right? And purification is also so important because we are vessels for God. We have to take care of these bodies in order to balance them. Because in order to stay present in the highest possible way, surrendering the most, we have to balance ourselves and get rid of the aggravators and the acids and things like this. That's why I say you have to remove the aggravators. All this works together. I always end up in the same spot. We started in politics, poverty, and disease, and we end because how do we correct imbalance? Presence and purification. Purification, we have to purify these vessels of God because the purification in a better, healthier vessel body allows our mind to calm down. When we're eating fruits, which are alkaline, which are hydrating, electric, this actually soothes and calms the body and thus the mind. If we're eating acidic foods, the acids aggravate. It's going to aggravate our mind. If we're eating junk food and processed food, but again, don't judge yourself if you're doing these things. That's not what it's about. We just have to observe. You're just observing your chemistry and conditioning. Let's go back. You're just observing your nature running off. So no matter what you think you're doing, which remember, we're not the doer. We only think we're somebody doing something. Stop thinking and solve all of your problems, right? We're not the doer. We observe. Observe whatever you're doing. Whatever you're eating, whatever bad habits, there are no bad habits. Just things we do to cope with being out of balance. If you've been watching a few of my videos in a row, you'll be like, wow, he's literally saying the same exact thing every time. Because I need to keep hearing it. Every day I make a video, I need to keep hearing it. And if you're still hanging on, God bless you. And thank you for being on this journey with me of getting free. That is why we are here. That is the only one true path, is getting free. I forgot where I was going with this, but thank you for joining me. That's all there is to do, is get free. That's why we're here. So we started at politics, poverty, and disease, right? Exist to suppress us, control us. Poverty and disease, there is no disease. Purify the body. Balance the chemistry. That's why I say we act based off our chemistry and our conditioning. If our chemistry is extremely aggravated and imbalanced, that's going to affect how you do things and how you act. So that's why there's so much chaos in the world. That's why my channel is called Fruit Saves the World. Because you got to balance the chemistry, and people won't be. You think people would be acting super crazy if they weren't all full of acids and toxins? No, they'd be calmed down. They'd be chill out. They'd be more open to the divine, allowing the divine to work through you. But to keep going on the journey of surrender and presence, we have to reconstitute the mind, empty the mind. We have to allow space for deeper understanding. We have to stop taking in information. That's why the information bit is so important, that they keep pumping at us information, because it aggravates and it keeps our brains full, right? We need to empty and calm the mind to facilitate a better connection with the divine, which is going to allow deeper understanding of some of these things I'm talking about. Again, if you're still hanging on, you're in the right place, because we are here together. Thank you for being here with me in this beautiful moment of getting free together. Every second we are present, we dissolve our ego and move closer to the center of the circle. Stay in the center of the circle and allow all things to take their course. That is what the Tao Te Ching is saying. Be the observer. Surrender. You have to give up control. If you want to be in the center of the circle, there's no control in the center of the circle, because we are the observer. You have to give up the idea that we are in control. That is the thing. Control only exists in the thinking mind, where we think we're somebody and we think we're in control. You got to let go of the steering wheel. We're in a self-driving car. You got to just let go and realize we're just here to sit and observe. And the only thing there is to do nothing, is to stop thinking. That, in a way, is one of the only merits we have, is whether we're thinking or not thinking. And again, everything's out of our control. We're just the observer. Just observe. We're nature running off. Stop thinking long enough, and this idea of no control, or this perspective, becomes more apparent. That is why I harp on it in every video, because I have stopped thinking long enough to observe my nature running off. I am not doing anything right now. I am not making this video. I am just watching my chemistry and conditioning make this video. I'm watching my nature run off. This is a process, me becoming a sort of teacher in the game of getting free, right, is a byproduct of my chemistry and conditioning. And this is what has become of it. And the more I purify my body and practice presence, which are the two main building blocks of my channel, presence and purification, we get a deeper and deeper connection with God, with our cosmic beloved. We're allowing the divine to flow through us, and we have a deeper and deeper understanding. And the deeper of understanding we get by emptying the mind and facilitating a state of peace and removing the aggravators, the more we can surrender, and the more we can stay present, and the more we can purify the body, because that is also a thing of levels. Because you kind of go back and forth. Your chemistry and conditioning can go back and forth. Some people have an easy time with purification and switching their diet to raw foods like fruits. I've had a very difficult time. Why? Because I need to keep seeing these different perspectives in order to gain a deeper understanding, so I can then incorporate that into my chemistry and conditioning and now teach some of these deeper understandings in a way people can understand or better understand. And if it resonates with them, they can be like, this is what I needed to hear. He's just reminding me, because we already know. You do not know anything I'm saying. You already know it. That's what Ram Dass says. You already know everything I'm going to say because you're nodding. I'm just here as a reminder for myself and for all of you. Because the illusion will never quit. And neither will I. The illusion will never quit stimulating and aggravating you with information, trying to keep you hooked, trying to keep you caught in the thinking game. Everything around us in the world as part of the thinking game. Not everything. Obviously, nature, things like that. Nature is just simply being. But if you're living in modern society, let's leave it at that, then a lot of what's around us exists to stimulate you and keep you. None of this is an accident. None of this prison society or this toxic food program. This is not the first time they've done this to a population. This is definitely not the first time they've done this to a planet, specifically using these things to suppress and control a population. When we stop thinking long enough and get to the center of the circle and start to observe nature running off, we start to realize these things. These are deeper understandings that we get when we empty the mind. How do we reconstitute and empty the mind? I have many videos on this specific subject. We have to stop taking in information. We have to calm the mind. That means that you're just calming the mind more is what you're doing, so you can stay present. Because information can be an aggravator. Can take us out of presence, which keeps us in the thinking mind. Anything out of presence is in the thinking mind. And we're caught in the cycles of suffering because we think we're somebody doing something and we think we know. And we think we're in control. Right? So everything that exists around us. So that's why we have to empty the mind, which is also calming the mind, which is helping with presence. And that's why we have to purify the body. Right? All this allows deeper and deeper understanding. This is how we get free. This is how we don't need politics. This is how politics vanishes. Remember, just like a bad habit or things we do to cope, politics is the things we do to cope with being out of balance. That's what it is. Because if we were truly in balance, true balance in the center of the circle, standing in the center of the circle, allowing all things to take their course, God would be working through all of us in such a fashion that it would transform this planet and everything around it. Because we would all be living in God's eternal love pouring forth out of us unto everyone and everything. This is unconditional love. This is what Jesus did. Surrender and unconditional love. He was hanging out with murderers and robbers and things like this because he loved unconditionally, because he probably realized when he quieted his mind enough and he was the observer that we're nature running off and nobody's actually doing anything. These are just people acting based off their nature running off, their chemistry and their conditioning. So the only thing there is to do is surrender and accept and become God's eternal love pouring forth through you, which is unconditional love. We are here to be unconditional love incarnate, God's love through these vessels. Cosmic consciousness comes when we can completely surrender. When we can completely give up thinking we're somebody, and thinking we're in control, and thinking we know. There goes our control systems. Once we regain true common sense, it cannot be controlled. When we realize we have to start moving toward self-sufficient communities, simple. We don't even need electricity. As the electricity can have, obviously, not that it's not useful, but if we were truly free people, we wouldn't want or allow anything that's going to harm our beings or our environment. So this is how we would live. This is how we transform the world. Thank you for being here with me, my beautiful friends. May our cosmic beloved send you peace, patience, presence, and understanding. You have never made a mistake. You've never made a wrong decision. You've never done or said anything wrong in your past. You're merely acting off of your chemistry and your conditioning, your nature running off. That's the only thing we could have ever done at any time. So remember, we talk about things on many different levels, right? So I hope you can understand. We are not doing anything. We just think we're somebody doing something. We can only ever make one decision based off our chemistry and our conditioning because we're just nature running off anyway. We can only ever make one decision. There was never going to be any other decision, and nothing ever was going to happen in a different way because there's only divine timing. So we don't need to get hung up. This is what no control and stop thinking and staying in the seventh circle, presence purification. This is why it's so powerful, because it allows us to release all these attachments and these traps of the illusion that keep us in the cycles of suffering, because we have to think to get caught in these things. We have to think we're somebody doing something. We have to think we're in control, the cause of all suffering. So once we give this all up, there go the traps. We're free. I am God's eternal love pouring forth. Namaste.